All right, welcome back to episode 12 of Happy Hour with Heather and Guest. With, as always, with me, that other dude, Andrew, and I'm joined by Heather. And
Hello.
we're here. Hello. We're here to bring you music, mirth, mayhem, all the M words that you can think of.
Yes.
And today we're going to take that M and turn it upside down to talk about a band from Seattle called Wounded Giant. And then we're also going to talk about a couple of other bands that either have the word giant in their name or they mention a giant in one of their songs. And then we will talk about some bands that have been fabricated out of thin air that don't really exist, but still make music. So we will get to that. But I hope you're doing well. I can imagine it's probably cold in the Midwest right now.
Very cold.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to get a nor'easter this weekend here in Virginia, but I'm hoping not.
Yeah, hopefully not. How many inches are you supposed to get?
I don't know. I haven't really been tracking it. I've just been hearing from people like, hey, you should go get your shopping done during the week. So so I have been, but it was my recommendation this week to talk about Wounded Giant, and they were a band that I discovered during one of my many spelunking trips on YouTube a couple of years ago, I think. And I think it was the first track. So we're going to talk about two of their albums. The first one is called Lightning Medicine. And I want to say that was released in the early 2010s at some point, maybe 2013. I don't know. 2013. Okay. But this was the song. I heard this song. The title track, the lead track, is called King Rawhead, and that was the song that hooked me. And once I heard that, I was like, I'm a fan of this band for forever. They've got me. You just tell me where to be, and I'll be there. So I'll jump right in if that's cool. With King Rawhead, I just said it was the song that hooked me. It was very much an ominous sounding song, sort of like the monster that's depicted in the song. It sounded like something approaching, the way they construct the song and that it sort of builds. I know you typically delve into lyrics, but I focused on the title. King Rawhead, I believe, is about a pagan deity named Rawhead Rex, or just Rawhead. I think Rex is Latin for king, which was a short story by Clive Owen, which was later made into a film called Rawhead Rex. So I think what I found, the story and film focus on a monstrous pagan deity and the bloody rampage through the Irish countryside. And then I wrote, great riff, structured a little differently, but great elements. So for me, King Rawhead was I swore my allegiance.
Yeah, and I have a pretty similar. There's a massive intro that's just getting us teed up, and then get ready for the ride. Powerful vocals, and every time the drumstick hits, it's like boom, 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 and then it feels like steps are getting closer. Boom, boom, and it builds up that suspense. And I don't know, maybe I watch too many horror movies, but this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it does what the song sets out to do, being about that subject matter, and the way it's constructed sounds like it's a monster coming to take your children. And yeah, I mean, just really a dynamite jam to open the album.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. And then the next track is Sinistra, which I said was great noodling and drumming to open the song. And then I said slowed down into the riff with elements of psychedelia in there. I said still amazed at the fact that it's a power trio. Just three musicians making such powerful music together. And then I wondered whether or not Sinistra was named after the character from Harry Potter, but I don't know.
Yeah, I love the heavy psych in this. It starts out really fast and then it gets really groovy. The vocals come in and it gets really fast again towards the end, and it's like a whirlwind of a song. And you get all this in 5 minutes. And that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, so far, all of the bands that we've listened to on this series, I guess this is still season 1, really, of the new format, have been incredible. And I would say Wounded Giant, we can just add them to the list of, like, if we made a playlist of all the bands we've had in 12 episodes, it's been a pretty phenomenal run.
Yeah.
So am I correct in that Lightning Medicine is the next track that we were going to talk about?
Yes.
So Lightning Medicine, which is also the name of the album. And I said complex and syncopated drumming into a solid riff. I said the songs are all different, but it's a Wounded Giant. Like they have a tone. And then I said there were great progressive elements into the time signature, which I don't really know what that means, but it sounds good. And then I said the song transitions into a wondery riff. So I don't know what wondery means. I'm gonna suggest that as a new term for a type of riff. It's a wondery riff.
Yeah. Well, I really noticed the drums throughout this album and especially on this song. Just incredible. I feel a bit of a punk influence, especially when he says, "Do what you're told." And I just want to shout, "Hell no." There's an amazing guitar riff, and I think this was a great pick, Andrew.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I was, so far throughout the course of this, I've been really happy with both of our picks. But thinking back and realizing, oh wait, I still have Wounded Giant in my pocket to talk, I was like, oh yeah, that's the ace up my sleeve. So
yeah,
I'm glad, but I'm really glad you enjoyed it.
I do.
And, so that was Lightning Medicine. And then the next album, which I was really excited, I think came out in 2017 or 2016, one of those, but I was back in Virginia at the time. I think I discovered King Rawhead when I was in Hong Kong. And the next album, Vivectus, came out while I was back here. So I remember I got it and I was really excited to have gotten it as soon as it came out. So we kick off with the lead track, Vivectus, which I believe is Latin for woe to the conquered or woe to the vanquished, which basically means like, if you're going to be conquered, don't expect mercy. So it's not a great position to be in. I felt like the song itself felt like the beginning of an opera or like a concert, like a classical arrangement. I also said it was how I would want to be introduced to like an applauding or raucous crowd. Like I would want that song to play as I walked out onto the stage, because I felt like it's a great entrance. And then I said keeps building into a solid riff, just all the pistons firing at once, some progressive time signature changes. One day, I hope somebody tells me what time signature changes really means so that I stop using it just however I want. And I really liked the again, I feel like I'm taking your position now as a lyricist analyzer, but the bad man told you the good guys win. It really does speak to the title of Woe to the Vanquished. Yeah. But it's such a great sort of straightforward, it's like you're explaining it to an 11-year-old. So I really enjoyed it.
I've always secretly wanted to be a rock star, but I have this thing called debilitating stage fright. This song makes me want to pick up a guitar and try to learn to play, which I know I'm too old now to play, but I can dream. And to be able to play the guitar like this in this song, it just completely blows me away.
Well, I will agree with you on one aspect of that it's amazing guitar playing. It's amazing music. But you're not too old to get out on the stage and rock the mic. And perhaps one day that will I'll pick up the guitar, we'll get on stage together, and we'll do a live version of Happy Hour with Heather and Guest, and we'll be the house band.
Okay. All right. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, no,
you'll have to help me get over my stage fright.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We will conquer it one step at a time.
Okay.
But yes, and we'll come out to Vivectus. Maybe Wounded Giant will even open. We'll see how it goes. But the second track off the album, I believe, is pronounced Dysthiest, Dysthiest, which I read was what you call a god who decides to become evil, or a god who decides to exercise evil. So again, not a wholly good supernatural presence. And by holy, I mean WHOLLY. But with regard to the song, I said great riffing. Again, more time signature changes. So I'm sticking with that. And then I said, definitely there's a sound to the band. So I feel like if you threw any Wounded Giant song on the radio or played it, I would know immediately that it was them. I wouldn't confuse them with any other. They have a signature sound.
Yeah, for sure. If the perfect song existed, this would come close. And I love how heavy the song is. And what would a perfect song be? One so heavy that it crushes bones. One you could sing to at the top of your lungs. A song that gives you goosebumps. It's so good. A song that instantly lifts your spirits. And this is like check, check, check.
Well, members of Wounded Giant, if you're listening to or watching this and you want any pull quotes for any future songs, anything Heather just said is something that you should put on your album. But this was an album. Sometimes you're really excited about albums that are coming out, and then they don't necessarily live up to your expectations, or you expected it to be different than it was. This was something that surpassed my expectations. I was sort of like, okay, if they can capture what they did with Lightning Medicine, then I'll be happy. And this was sort of like, whoa, this is even better than I had anticipated. And then you had, we were just going to do, I think, 3 songs. You had suggested adding Room with a Torch, which I was glad you did, because that was one of the songs I hadn't really listened to that often. It was great. I like the organ, great riffing. I like how the song builds upon itself, but it's sort of different from the previous 2. And then going into a similar sound and more time signature changes. So listen, I'm going to say this. I probably should have said this beforehand. If you're playing a drinking game right now, on the amount of times I say the phrase time signature changes. Just alternate water, because
That's a running theme this
yeah,
today.
I don't want anyone to get sick. And I'm probably gonna, I don't think I say time signature changes anymore, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah. I don't know, you're kind of a wild card, so you kind of throw stuff out there sometimes. So
Yeah. No.
This I'm gonna reiterate what you said. This has big sound coming from a three-piece band. These guys are extremely talented. I really noticed the double bass drum, and there's a really cool bass line towards the end of the song.
Yes, I had one other thing that I wrote after this song: 3 jams, making this one of my favorite albums. So let's not forget to include that. And it's a cool album photo. I think it's a picture of Rasputin on the cover. But
yeah, I was going to mention that too.
Yeah, there you go.
It is.
And then the last song I picked was Green Scar, which I remember listening to, that I had on repeat on the mornings I would walk to school. This was one of the albums that I listened to frequently on repeat. When I wasn't listening to Crawl by Newthrush on the walk to school, I was listening to Green Scar. And I remember really sort of, I think at one point, singing the words out loud and not really caring if anyone was staring at me, like I was walking to school out in public and, with my headphones on, just singing along. And I just really liked the power of the song, especially I remember shouting out Orion's Belt. People probably looked at me like I was insane. And I could imagine myself in the crowd singing along to this song as Wounded Giant played it, and sort of pumping my fist into the, this was probably at the time my favorite song off the album. So,
this song, it has a slower tempo and it has a heavy feel. Like you can feel the weight and the heaviness of it. This is doom at its finest. I have to say, I really like the album art too, the Rasputin, and then it has the mushrooms on the cover, which is really cool. It's been really fun discussing these two albums. This was really good picks, and I don't know, do you know, are they still together? Because I couldn't find anything.
I'm pretty sure they are. The go-to place for me is the Metal Encyclopedia, or the Encyclopedia Metallum, or whatever the actual name is of that website, because it's usually pretty spot on about bands who are together or who've split up, and I think they're still together. I don't know if they are recording new music or going to be touring, but I hope they put something out at some point, because these are 2 killer albums and they're a great band.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because this one came out in 2017.
Yeah. So it's been a little while, but yeah, hopefully they'll either put out new music, or they'll be active, or they'll do something, because the world needs more Wounded Giant.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that will lead us to the next section, where I think I had suggested there was a band called Sulfur Giant I believe they're from Portugal. And they're more of a psychedelic instrumental stoner band. Uh-oh, did you freeze? Hello? Okay, so a bit of a snafu there, but we're through it. And I think I had mentioned Sulfur Giant was a band from Portugal that's more of like a stoner psychedelic group who I discovered again doing a YouTube deep dive. Um, and I think I showcased them once on a Fistful of Faithful to my friend Patrick, and we both really just sort of enjoyed the mellow sounds. So I figured since they had Giant in their name, I would give them a shout out as well.
Yeah, and I listened to it, and it has kind of a throwback feel to it. And I noticed that it's mostly instrumental, and it feels like it's, progressive and psychedelic. Oh,
Yeah, if you're looking for that, any of those buzzwords jump out at you, I would definitely recommend checking out Sulfur Giant. You can catch they have their album is on YouTube. It's a really mellow feel to it. I feel like I'm describing coffee. It's got like a mellow feel to it, and not very acidic.
yeah, and I did make a YouTube playlist, and I do have this on there. So along with some of the other bands that we're going over, I put them all on a playlist. So
Cool. Yeah,
they're all super.
definitely. If you haven't yet, hit pause on this, go listen to all this music so you can have better insight into what we're discussing. But yeah, I would recommend, if you're in a chill mood, throw on some Sulfur Giant. And then of course, I had forgotten about Howling Giant, which was one of those bands that I think I've sort of like, I know they've been on my periphery for the last couple of years because they're always in a YouTube algorithm. If you like this music, why not also check out Howling Giant? And I think I did listen to some of their stuff at one point, but it was cool to kind of go back to it now that I had a better sense of like, oh yeah, no, this is one Heather recommended. Like, give this time to sit down and listen, and I'm glad I did. As with all your recommendations.
Yeah, they're on this. It's called Turn to Stone Chapter 2, and it's a split with Sergeant Thunderhoof, and I think Ripple Music. I think Ripple Music put it out, but it's like this amazing soundscape, and it tells a story. Like each song has a theme, so and it's beautifully crafted, and both of the songs on it are pretty spectacular. So I really recommend definitely checking this out.
Yeah, go check. You can get a taste of it on the playlist, and then you can probably pick it up anywhere where you can get either streaming music, or if you're a vinyl enthusiast, or if you have a CD player, I would imagine you could probably get a compact disc. But yeah, and then there was and then I had remembered. So there was a band called Thorr-Axe, Thorraxe, and they've subsequently disbanded. I think one of the members, Tucker, I think is in a band right now called Throne of Iron, who are still active. They're more of like a thrash metal, new wave of British heavy metal type group, whereas Thorr-Axe was a little bit more doom. But I liked this song called Sundering of the Frost Giant because I think, let me just double check to make sure. Yes, the riff is great. I remember one time being in my classroom after I had dismissed the students, and I fed my computer through the speakers in the room. So I remember blasting this song just as a speech language pathologist came in to meet with me about like another student, and she just sort of heard the music and saw me and backed away and just shut the door. And it was a really great to see the look on her face of recognition, like, oh my God, this is heavy metal music, and you're listening, like you of all people would be blasting this. um but yeah, I like the way the riff builds up, and then they have a breakdown where the singer assumes the role of the frost giant, sort of like a fee fi fo fum, discovering somebody who's been in my lair type thing. So it's a great jam. I really like the song.
Yeah, and Tucker, he was in the music marketing course, that we were in together. He was in them too. I don't know if he was in the one that we took together, but I had taken several other ones that he had been in as well. So Tucker, I'm familiar with him, and I'm familiar with his band Throne of Iron, and it was fun how he markets Throne of Iron. It's really interesting. He's an interesting guy, so I definitely recommend checking out Throne of Iron too.
Oh yeah, no, I would say check out this song just for the the giant element and the fact that it's a great riff, but definitely check out Throne of Iron. It's really great music. More of a quicker pace, and more of like a thrashy type sound, but very much steeped in like Dungeons and Dragons lore, and really cool, like really great stuff. So be sure to check that out. And then the last segment was Fictitious Bands. And really, so I was such a huge fan of the comedian Harris Whittles, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But he wrote for Parks and Rec. He also played Harris, the animal control guy, who's one of the two animal control guys, aside from Andy Samberg. And I want to say Brett. I forgot the other guy's last name, but he created a show called Analyze Fish, in which he tried to convince Scott Aukerman, who's another comedian, that he should listen to the band Fish. So, as you can tell, probably Harris was the biggest fan of Fish, and that's what gave me the idea to start a Fistful of Faceful, to convince my British friend Martin to listen to heavy metal music. But when Harris was writing for the Sarah Silverman program, he wrote an episode where she goes to a concert and does a lot of drugs and falls in love with the music, and then subsequently stops doing drugs and realizes the music is awful, that it was really just the drugs. And originally, they wanted Fish to be the band, and they couldn't get them. So then Harris created a group called Kaleidoscope Funk Network, which I don't think they ever played music, but it was the best name I'd ever heard, that I was like, we gotta include them somehow. So if you can find, I mean, maybe that's what we should call our band, or at least a track, Kaleidoscope Funk Network. Or we could change, Kaleidoscope Thrash Network, or whatever. But
I looked, I couldn't find any music.
Yeah, no, I couldn't find anything either. But it was I just wanted to get it out there because it was such a fun, name. And then the other, so Dethklok, the fictitious band from the TV show Metalocalypse. So one of the creators of the show, Brendan Small, is also a musician who I think went to the Berklee School of Music and is an incredible guitarist. So he not only comes up with the ideas, and writes the scripts, and voices the characters. He also actually plays the music. So he actually plays and records all the music that the fictitious band Dethklok plays. I think it's him, and Gene Hoglan is on the drums from Testament. And one of the songs that Dethklok has is called Go Into the Water. And I remember the first time I heard that, I thought, wow, this is legitimately a phenomenal song. Like, this is, this, like, I would put that up against, I mean, obviously it's I don't want to say formulaic, but it's very specific to the TV show. But when I heard the riffs, I was like, wow, this is something I would stack up against, like, a Judas Priest anthem, or like Master of Puppets, or one of those like anthemic songs that's really symbolic. I was like, wow, Go Into the Water. That's the real deal.
Yeah, when I heard it, I was like, heavy effing metal. Yeah, it's like, yeah, legit metal. It's a legit metal song. Yeah, it's really good. Really good.
If you get the chance, most of I think they've released 3 albums that are all tied into the TV show as this fictitious band Dethklok, but they're all legitimately good albums because the musicianship is off the charts. And Brendan knows how to write a great metal song. So, and then you recommended, even though it's not necessarily of the metal, Kaleidoscope Funk Network's not really metal either, but
no, it's not metal.
The Soggy Bottom Boys.
Yeah, the Soggy Bottom Boys. It's more folk,
But a great jam.
Oh, I love it. It's from the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And the song is called Am a Man of Constant Sorrow. And I love both the song and the movie. Holly Hunter has a great line in the movie, when she says someone is bona fide, he's bona fide. And so, like, I just pick that up and I say it all the time, they're bona fide. I love that. They're bona fide.
When that movie came out, I think I was working at a theater company at the time, and one of my colleagues' cousins was dating, this is going to seem circuitous, was dating the bass player for Fish. And I think Fish had broken up at this point. So he was playing as like just a get together with some other musicians at the time. I think Phil Lesh from the Grateful Dead was there too. But because this movie had just come out and that song was really big, they played that song. So I got to hear not necessarily the Soggy Bottom Boys, but I got to hear the song being played by some legitimately great musicians from all walks of life. So that was really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, it's a great song. And the video, the video that I put on YouTube is like the official video from the movie. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a great movie too. I think it's one of their underrated, underrated Coen Brothers movies.
And it's great cast. Great cast.
Yeah. Definitely. So that's been our show for episode number 12. Go check out Wounded Giant, Sulfur Giant, Howling Giant, Throne of Iron, Dethklok. If you can find a song from Kaleidoscope Funk Network, then go rock out to it. But but otherwise, this is I love this. This is, being able to talk to you about music like this is the best. So if you're out there and you're watching this and you want to talk about music, find that person who will let you talk about music and drop phrases like more signature time changes or time signature changes. And that wasn't a cue to drink, by the way. Or maybe it was, I don't know.
And to
But
find someone who shares your specific taste in music is it's just the best. It's the best.
yeah, well, and this, the community is out there. So it's been so much fun doing this so far. I'm excited to see where it goes. And we've got more episodes coming at you. I believe it's Heather's turn to pick the bands next time. So I'm excited to see what she brings to the table. But that is going to do it for us. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.